Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I want to do a fearless gear review on something that's caused me some real grief over the last year or two. The Puresound snare wires and the new speed release straps. Now, I've used Puresound wires on almost all of my snares over the last 10 or 12 years, and they sound great. And when I got my new Ludwig Superphonic, the first thing I did was to replace the factory snare wires with some Puresound blasters. You guys have heard the results, and they're phenomenal. Without a doubt, Puresound wires are great. I especially love the blasters, and they're my first choice to put on a snare drum. However, my new set of blasters came with the new speed release straps. Now, on paper, this sounds like a great idea. You do away with the old straps for a new cloth strap held in place by a cotter pin. The idea being to make tuning the bottom head easier. Pull the pins, remove the wires, tune the drum. Replace the wires, replace the pins, and bam, you're in business. Well, that's how they intended them to work anyway. The reality is something quite different. I first noticed that these had a problem when initially installing them. The cotter pins tend to slip either during playing or during transport, and they'll loosen the snares off just enough to ruin your snare sound. You guys were asking what was up with the snare on this clip. And after checking, sure enough, turns out the snare wires had loosened up just enough to screw up the sound. Sure, the drum still has plenty of attack, but that's more because of Ludwig's great design and Jackson Ward's skill as a drummer. But the cotter pin issue has creeped up at the most inopportune times over the last year, including my most recent trip to Oiart, where we were doing a test run for an upcoming drum recording lesson. The snare was good, but it didn't quite have the great quality I know that it usually puts out. And it wasn't until I got home and unloaded my van that I noticed the cotter pin had become slightly loose. In fact, this has happened way too many times to be tolerable, because when you're recording drums, there are already many things to watch out for. Squeaky pedals and seats, drum tuning, phase issues, mic placement, getting everything routed correctly, live effects, headphone mixers, talkback, the list goes on. My point being is that your snare wires should not be on the list of things that you have to check regularly. They should just work. These don't. Not well, anyway. The last thing you need in the middle of a serious recording is a gotcha from a flawed design. My suggestion, buy the wires, but use traditional straps. Avoid the speed release straps because they will burn you. And Puresound, please rename them to something more accurate, like inconvenient release straps, because at least that would be honest.